Ain't about your bread and I can't fuck with ya. I thought you was 100, but you showed me 50. You said you was gonna ride, huh? And the coupe that's parked outside, that bitch looks so expensive. I bet it cut your eye, huh?
Hey man, we got Bankroll Freddie, the last real trap rapper. Now I ain't never heard of Bankroll Freddie. I might have heard of him one time, but yeah, I ain't never heard of folks, bro. No cap. We finna hop into the vid though, bro.
Last year, Bankroll Freddie was one of the hottest up-and-coming rappers out of the South. He dropped his second album with features from massive artists like Megan Thee Stallion and 2 Chainz, and it looked like he's about to take over. But last week, Freddie got busted with 21 pounds of weed and is now in FBI custody. Here's what's going on. On April 15th, Bankroll Freddie got pulled over for speeding in Marion, Arkansas. Getting a speeding ticket is one thing, but that was probably the last thing he was tripping on. When the cops searched his truck, they found 21 pounds of weed, 171 grams of promethazine, and a gun. According to reports, Freddie also got hit with charges for resisting arrest, speeding, and not wearing a seatbelt. It ain't clear why the FBI is getting involved, but Freddie might be caught up in a major investigation now that the feds are working the case. Freddie's always had a wild life, and moving weight is nothing new to him. He grew up in a small town called Helena, Arkansas, and been in the streets since an early age. His pops was a gambler and involved in the dope game too, and he brought Freddie with him everywhere he went. Like most kids, Freddie looked up to his dad and wanted to be just like him. He saw his pops making money and buying new cars and clothes, and Freddie wanted the same thing for himself. He even told his first grade teacher that he wanted to be a drug dealer like his dad. In interviews with Vlad TV and DJ Small's Eyes, Freddie talks about how crazy his life was growing up in Helena. Most kids are playing with toys and watching cartoons at 9 years old, but that's when Freddie saw his first murder. He was walking down the street when he saw his cousin chasing down her own brother with a butcher knife. She stabbed him over and over like a horror movie while he screamed at Freddie to help. Freddie ran away to call 911, but by the time the paramedics arrived, his cousin was already dead. No charges was filed against the woman because her brother had a history of abusing her. But witnessing something that crazy is gonna leave a mark. Watching someone get shot is traumatic enough, but seeing your own cousin get stabbed to death with a butcher knife is next level. But violence seems like it's always surrounded Freddie. He told Vlad TV that over the years, he's lost over 15 friends to gun violence, and he's been shot on 2 different occasions too. Not much is known about the shootings, because Freddie ain't going into detail about them. But he has talked about the gunshot wounds, and it's clear he's lucky to be alive. The first shooting went down in 2017 after a fight in a casino. According to Freddie, there was a fight first, then the other side came back shooting when he left the casino. He was driving down the road when someone sped past and shot out his back windshield. He didn't even notice at first, but then a second car pulled up next to him and started dumping shots too. Freddie tried to duck out of the way, but one bullet hit under his arm and another grazed his head. His homie in the car with him got grazed in the back and in the head too, but Freddie was lucky to be alive. If the bullet that hit his side had gone a little to the left, it would have hit him directly in the heart and killed him instantly. The second shooting went down in May 2021. It ain't clear exactly what happened, but Freddie got hit in the spine and the bullet traveled up his back and got lodged into his shoulder. Doctors managed to cut out the bullet fragments, but Freddie could have easily been paralyzed from the injury. Spinal injuries is no joke, and if the bullet was even half an inch closer to his spinal cord, he probably wouldn't even be walking today. Getting shot twice don't sound lucky, but Freddie said he'd been in over 30 shootouts, so it's crazy that he only been hit twice. He explained that Helena's a small town, so there's nowhere to hide. There was times he'd been in 3 or 4 shootouts in one day because he kept crossing paths with his enemies. Freddie says getting shot is scary because you don't know if you'll live or die, but it actually don't hurt that much. He admitted in an interview with DJ Small's Eyes that one time he slipped on some ice and broke his ankle, and that hurt way more than getting shot. He said he tried to tough it out and walk it off, but ended up breaking another bone in his foot and had to wear a cast and roll around on a scooter. Not only did Freddie see his dad so dope, he also witnessed him win big with gambling. His dad shot dice on the block and went to legit casinos too, but he never knew when to quit. Freddie talks about how his dad would win like 70 racks in 10 minutes, then be dead broke a few days later. Freddie took after his dad and started gambling heavy around high school. Every night for a year straight, him and his homies rented hotel rooms and people came through to gamble with him. Freddie says he don't got a gambling addiction like his pops, but he did admit that he's lost over $400,000 in dice games. He said that he don't gamble heavy like that no more, but some fans think gambling debts might be why he's still moving weight even after his rap career took off. After he got shot in 2017, Freddie realized he needed to change how he moved. His first son was on the way, and Freddie wanted to be there for him. Music was never really something he considered as an option, but after he caught a case in Memphis, he had to show the courts he was working on something productive. So he dropped a couple songs in 2017 and started building a buzz in the city. He still wasn't taking music too serious, but in 2019, he recorded a freestyle to Act Up by the City Girls, and everything changed. Freddie posted a freestyle, and Pierre P. Thomas from Quality Control Music tapped in immediately. Freddie appeared on an episode of Big Facts and told him, I posted on my page, and that P hit that instantly. He shared it like, this hard. Then everybody went to call on my phone like, P, post your shit. Even though he wasn't really even a rapper at the time, P obviously saw the potential. Freddie said, so then he hit me up the next day like, call me, send me your info. Boom. I get on the phone with him, and he's like, I'm finna fly you to LA. I'm like, shit, bet. Flew me to LA, and the rest been history. Freddie dropped his debut single, Drip Like This, followed by his first mixtape,
Hey, no
Saved by the
homo,
Bells,
bruh.
in July 2019. Drip
Hey,
Like
that
This
boy
popped off a
Bankroll
little bit,
skin,
but then Quality
bruh.
Control put Young
You
Dolph
seen
and Lil
Bankroll
Baby on the
Freddie's skin?
remix, and the track went crazy.
Bro,
Right
you
now,
think of
he got
melanin,
almost
bro?
20 million plays on Spotify,
That
and it
motherfucker
launched
is
Freddie into the
melanin.
mainstream. In
Pause, bro,
2020,
it's not
he kept
gay.
the momentum going and released his debut album, From Trap to
Bro,
Rap,
skin smooth
with
as
features
hell.
from Lil Yachty, Moneybagg Yo, and other established artists. Unfortunately, he couldn't go on tour like he wanted because of the pandemic. But behind the scenes, he had more deals in the works. When up-and-coming rappers have a hot song or album, they usually try to ride that wave and release as much music as possible. But Freddie went MIA for 10 months with no new music. Fans was confused at first, but then, in January 2021, he made a comeback. Freddie announced he signed a deal with Motown Records
MIA
and dropped
mean?
a single, Add It Up,
Ain't that
to
Miami,
celebrate
bro?
the event. On the track,
I think it's
he
songs
brags
or
about his
something.
cars and jewelry and raps, I ain't dropped in 10 months, and I still ain't went cold yet. Then a couple months later, he dropped his second album, Big Bank, and a single with Megan Thee Stallion. Within a couple of years, Freddie went from just a random hustler in Arkansas to one of the most exciting new artists in the game. It seemed like everything was going his way, but now he's being held by the FBI and could potentially be facing life in prison. Even though Freddie's pops
Tryna hold
introduced him to
that
the
stack,
streets
bro.
as a
That shit
kid,
look
his
satisfying.
family tried to keep him out of trouble. After his cousin was murdered in 2009, Freddie went to live with his mom in Conway, Arkansas to get away from the violence in Helena. But by that point, Freddie was knee-deep in the streets and went back to Helena every weekend. Helena's a small town, but that don't mean it ain't dangerous. Back in 2008, the crime rate was over 5 times the national average, and it's still a wild place today. People usually talk about crime in bigger cities like Chicago and New York, but some of these small towns you never hear about can be...
Bro, it's crazy that people really live this shit on a daily basis. Like, people see people get killed, people get in shootouts like every second. You know what I'm saying? It's like, bro, as we're talking right now, there's probably people in a shootout right now. There's people getting killed right now. Like, that shit is crazy as fuck. And it's like, if you were to like go to a hood and like you not from the hood, you probably, like, if you just stay there for a little bit, bro, you probably see somebody get killed type shit, like, for your first time. And that's what people be going through. Like, literally in the hood, people be seeing people get killed for the first time. Shit crazy as hell though, bro. Hey, I love y'all. God bless y'all. And yeah, I'm finna see y'all, bro.